going on, guys? Welcome back to Safety Series Part 3. If you missed Part 1 and 2, go back and check them out. Today's video is going to basically be about complacency, and we're actually going to use an example from yours truly. I made a couple mistakes a couple days ago in a video about the chase cam, and I actually edited out the fail to bring it into this video to highlight it even more so that hopefully someone learns something from my mistake and maybe changes their habits to prevent the same thing happening to themselves. Anyway, enough said, let's get right into the clip. I'll play it for you guys straight up unedited, and then we'll come back, rewind, and kind of analyze what went on in this case.
What the hell was that? Dude! That wasn't normal. Did you see the wing? It was like all bunched up. I should have looked at it better before I committed. But I was like, screw it. Sketchy. Maybe I'll save that clip for a safety series on proper wing prep.
All right, let's break it down. So before I started filming, the part that you guys didn't see is really important here. Now what happened was we were flying all day, having fun, and we were gonna go for a real quick rip right at sunset. It was myself and my buddy Judson. If you guys don't know Judson, go watch the previous video about his first flight. He's like a paramotor pilot in training, just did his first solo flight a few days ago. Anyway, Judson and I are like, quick, let's hurry up and try to beat Jeff into the air. Let's lay out your wing, like pit crew, let's do this together really fast. And right away that kind of screams bad idea, like you should never rush a setup. And anyway, we run out, we take the glider, throw it out on the ground, and as you know, we straighten out the lines so that the glider's ready to launch. Judson did the left half of the wing, I did the right half, and basically we hold the risers up, check the lines, swing them around, lay it out. And I don't know, 95% of the time, I do a really good job at this. I like set it up nice and neat and check every single line. Sometimes, and in this case, I was kind of like, you know what, let's just lay it out. It'll probably work. My thought process at this time was, if the wing doesn't inflate properly, I'll be able to see it and just abort the launch before anything goes wrong. And that wasn't really true. So error number one was rushing the launch. You should never rush, obviously. You should take the time to lay out your wing the best you can possibly do. It was my fault for deciding to just say, you know what, let's see what happens. Second mistake was, in this case, I was trusting Judson to set up half of my wing and I was setting up the other half. But at the end of the day, it's 100% your responsibility to know that that wing is laid out properly. You are pilot in command, so it's your responsibility to make sure it's good. In the end, it turned out that the side that Judson laid out had some sort of malfunction with it, whether it was his fault or just luck of the draw. I couldn't tell you, but in no way was it his fault, because it was my responsibility to check that side and make sure it was laid out to my standards. So now as we progress into the launch, I'm clipped in, ready to go, and this is like a no-wind scenario. So you have to run really fast and generally the longest in a no-wind situation. And generally my launch goes sort of like, you run forward, you inflate the glider, and you look up at one tip, you look up at the other tip, you make sure that nothing is wrong, and then you commit and go. Now in this case, it was a no-wind launch, and I just wanted to get off the ground kind of as quick as I could. I wanted to do like a short field takeoff. Now what happened was, as I'm running, I inflate the glider, I look at my right side, I'm good, I'm applying power already, getting ready to get off the ground, and I look over to the left, and right as I made contact with the left side and realized it wasn't right, was the exact same moment I was lifting off the ground. So I was already kind of at a point of no return when I realized there was a problem. So that's really mistake number 3. I should have taken a little bit more time on my launch to look right, look left, and then commit. But I was rushing everything together because so many times it goes right. That's like kind of the definition of complacency, that this one time it wasn't going right and I shouldn't have trusted that it was going to be right. I should have slowed down and made sure I knew it was right before I committed. But anyway, I go along, and at this point, I'm just like a foot off the ground, and I realize there's a problem. So at this point, I have a decision. I can either keep going or I can land immediately, and in this case, it was a no-brainer. Seeing how distorted my wing was, there was no way I was gonna take it any higher. And this is where, to me, this situation couldn't really have gone horribly wrong. It could have ended badly, but badly to the extent of probably breaking gear. I don't think I would have injured myself in this situation because I only got a foot off the ground. From that height, I feel like I would tumble and break my motor, but it wouldn't have been that bad or catastrophic or anything. So I continued to fly, and I've been in a similar situation. If you go way back, one of the videos I made was similar to this, like an analysis of something that went wrong. I'll link it up here. I had a line that got pinched on my wing. What I learned from that situation was that when I was in the brakes, creating lift to take off in that first initial few feet, everything felt fine. The wing was flying straight, but as soon as I let out of the brakes to accelerate into full flight, now that I had some speed going, that's when the distorted wing took effect and in that case turned me right. Now in this situation, if you look at the video, I'm in the brakes the whole time. I'm basically flying in slow flight, creating that lift. I never accelerated to full flight. And I believe that if I had accelerated to full flight, I would have hooked left pretty violently. I honestly didn't feel any tendency of the wing to turn, and I think that's because I was holding it back in slow flight. Now, looking back at the footage, it was more distorted than I thought, having seen it from my perspective. It was like very distorted. I'm pretty impressed that it even got me off the ground and flew as straight as it did. Anyway, we progressed through the launch. I took it into the next soccer field and it goes off a little, maybe 3-foot hill. I went off that little hill, still only a foot or two off the ground, and I decided I'm just gonna freaking land right there. And in this case, it wasn't a very nice landing. It was like an aborted takeoff, really. So I was still in the power. I was not in accelerated flight. It was kind of like a flare with the power still on, and there was basically no flare power. I kind of stomped it and slid and ran it out, but it was fine. It was not horrible. It was a little bit harder than normal. At the end of the day, it wasn't that big of an issue. What it means to me is just a very nice, gentle wake-up call. Nothing bad happened, and I don't think anything very bad would have happened in this situation, but it was a good opportunity to learn 3 lessons and tell you guys about those lessons. So to recap, the 3 things I learned in this situation was: first, don't trust someone else to set up your gear. It's always your responsibility as the pilot in command to make sure that that gear is good to go. Second lesson was don't rush. We were both purposely rushing in this situation, and that's just not a smart thing to do. Sometimes you can get away with it, sometimes it'll bite you, so it's best to avoid rushing altogether. Third lesson was on that actual launch to slow it down a bit and make sure that both wingtips are good to go. This whole situation, all 3 lessons, kind of encompass the idea of complacency, and the launch especially. I'm used to that wing coming up perfectly fine every single time, and I like glance, we're good to go, and boom, I'm ready to fly. In this case, it was glance, but this glance was too late and I was already off the ground. I had no chance to just turn back at that moment and abort the launch because I was already off the ground. So I had to drag it out through the next soccer field and abort over there. Anyways, I hope this video didn't run too long. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. And I hope you, if you're a paramotor pilot, apply it and fly safely, and always keep a check on your complacency. I'm always trying to keep a check on it. This time, obviously, I slipped up. I made a mistake, but I'm not ashamed to admit it. And I'm more than happy to share it with you guys. As always, if you enjoyed the video, drop a like. If you're new here and you're not subscribed, hit that button down below, ring the little bell next to it, and check out the website. A lot of people ask how to get into paramotors, all the general questions. That's all outlined in frequently asked questions. A lot of people ask about what gear I use. That's in my gear section. There's also merch on the website, and if you make a purchase, it helps support this channel to keep going and doing more adventures. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Next video will be tomorrow. We're going on a flying adventure. It's gonna be rad. Till the next one, peace out.